Welcome to the show. I have Francis with Francis 5 Properties, and he's an investor focusing on the BRRRR strategy. He's a business owner, also has vacation rentals, developments down south, which we're going to talk about today. He believes in discipline, happiness, integrity, and gratitude. He's also a member of Wealth Genius. Welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome, Sam. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thanks for being here. We appreciate you. So tell us a little bit about you, well, your journey, how you got started in real estate investing and your portfolio right now.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, Sam, we really started in back in 2016, where we started in our journey in real estate. We joined the real estate network, and really and truly, we did start getting serious back in 2019. I've been around real estate my whole life because we own a trucking company. So I've been around builders, small, medium, and big builders my whole life. As long as I had the trucking business for about 16 years now, so I never really paid attention to it until recently. Then I started getting serious in the real estate business. I was just focusing on growing my trucking business, you know. So it was really and truly since about 2019, we really started getting serious. We focus on the multifamily apartment building BRRRR. We're focusing on vacation rentals, and we're doing development. Like we're building a couple of custom houses here in Durham, Ontario, as well.
Okay. So when you were around a lot of builders, what did you pick up and why was that important for you to start getting into land development looks like as well? What did you learn from those builders you were around and how did that influence you getting into that space?
Well, getting into the space, I wasn't really while I was around them, I was just kind of focusing growing my trucking business. I didn't really pay too much attention to these builders until I started getting serious in real estate in about the last 3 to 4 years now. So mainly it was just kind of building connections and building relationships with these builders. But that's what really kind of made that transition a little bit more easier for me because I've had relationships with these guys to be like, okay, I could just jump into this space here, and the transition would be kind of easy for me because the relationship was already there.
That's great. What did you learn from those builders as you're getting into that space? It's new to you at that time. How did it allow you to propel yourself to start getting into that development space?
I just pretty much just kind of learning the process from A to Z when it comes to the development of how from when they acquire the property and from when they acquire the property and going through all the permitting stages and dealing with the city and everything like that, and to get it into the shovel ready, get it to SBAs to be able to build or develop the property, the land.
That's excellent. Thanks for sharing that. Can you just briefly describe that process and like, is it a big opportunity now? Are you finding that there's a lot more builders in the space now, a lot more development, a lot more, what is that looking like in the Durham region and also down south too, when it comes to that development space?
There's a lot of opportunities there. Absolutely, I would say that you have to love the numbers. It has to really make sense. If you acquire land, you got to be able to carry the property until you can get it to the site plan approval, be able to get the permits to do what you intend to do with the land and property if you plan on developing it. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity there. You just have to find the right property and have the right team of doing that, right?
Okay. And when someone's like, let's say someone's getting into, we talked about the site plan approval, you have to make sure you can carry the land. What are some things that someone should consider if they're looking to get into, land development or developing in general to be able to get the site plan and building as well, custom homes and other things too?
Yes, I would say you have to have knowledge of what you're doing, know exactly what you're doing, know that the process could take you 24 to 36 months,
Okay.
just to even get it to that point. So you have to know what you're doing, know the whole process, and be able to carry carry the loan. If you're using investors' funds, you have to be able to account for that, be able to have a plan, knowing that it could go that long before you even
Okay.
get it to that point, right?
So it seems like you set the investors' expectations. Do you do a lot of partnerships, like joint venture partnerships? How are you usually funding these kind of projects to take them to the finish line?
Yeah, it was usually it'd be like either a joint venture partnership or it'd be like an off-market deal. Other investor would kind of bring you the deal, and then you'd kind of just look at it, look at the numbers, and if it makes sense, then you would take over the project.
Okay. And I know you really recently got into 2019, you got rain at 2016, and then 2019 you got into real estate. What interests you most about real estate? You talked about also giving back. That's important to you, your family. Tell me a little bit about that, if you can dive in a little bit about that.
What interests us about real estate is just the lifestyle, just to have the lifestyle. We have 3 children here, just to be able to create generational wealth, be able to change the dynamic of our family. We grew up in metro housing, like we grew up as a poor family. To be able to change that dynamic, the cycle of that generation, and be able to create generation wealth through real estate, to be able to pass it on like generations to come for our children and our children's children as well, right?
I love that. That's amazing. So definitely making a huge impact. I think that's a big core
Yeah.
value for sure. So being able to change the generational wealth and change that generational pattern of financing, what role do you feel financial education and what lessons would you give your kids now that you have this knowledge to help them carry that forward?
We have we have a 17-year-old and a 12-year-old, so we already
Wow,
started educating them financially, financial literacy. We started bringing them to some financial course, like real estate focus. So we feel it's our duty to kind of, the school systems, they don't teach you that, right? They don't teach you financial literacy. So we feel that's kind of missing in the school system. So we feel, me and my wife, we feel like it's our duty to kind of teach our children early at that age, 17 years old and 12 years old, start getting them into it now. So in the next 5 years, they'll have the financial knowledge and to be able to know real estate investing and financial literacy, and be able to create wealth through real estate, right?
yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, the kids grow fast. I think it's definitely important that you do that. You mentioned too that the school system doesn't teach that. Why do you think that is the case, that they don't teach financial literacy to that level to empower people financially? What do you think about that?
Yeah, see, I don't even know why they don't. It's just a missing in the system.
Yeah.
It's missing in the system. I don't know
Absolutely
why they
missing.
don't teach it, but that's
Yeah.
it's a gap. There's a gap there, right? So it's
Yeah.
definitely missing, and I definitely think they should add that to the curriculum, but that's definitely missing. I have no idea why they don't really
Yeah.
teach that stuff. So
Yeah, it's interesting. There's so many different theories, and without getting it down a rabbit hole, but like even Robert Kiyosaki's book Fake, they talk a lot about, it's intentional in a way to, print money and just, have people working for money that's going down in value and not preserving their capital in real estate, which I think is amazing. And you do multifamily. Why has multifamily been important to you? What caused you to choose that strategy as an investment strategy?
we love multifamily because as our real estate portfolio started to grow, you hit a financial wall, right? And then you run out of ways of getting capital. So one of the reasons we love multifamily, because the income of the property can qualify you for the financing. So we kind of love that aspect because we wanted to continue to grow, and we looked at different strategies, and we know what, at this time, this is the best strategy for us because we want to continue to grow. We want to get more doors, and multifamily would allow us to get more doors based on the income of the property that generate from the rents that generate the income. So it will help you get the financing. So we kind of love that aspect of it.
And when it comes to multifamily, do you combine the Burr strategy, the buy, renovate, refinance, rent, repeat strategy with multifamily? And if you do, how do you do that to increase the value of the property after you're done?
Yeah, we definitely consider that burst strategy with multifamily as well. So when we're looking for multifamily apartment buildings, we're looking for apartment buildings that are underperforming.
Okay.
Yeah, where tenants are paying below market rent value. So we're looking for that. We're looking for the property needs work, the building needs a lift. So we're looking at all these things when we're looking at multifamily. So we can actually go in there and add value, doing a tenant turnover, kind of restabilize the building, doing a tenant turnover. So we look at how we can add value to the building and increase the appreciation of the property by those things, right?
Excellent. So when you're looking at restabilizing the building, is there certain like decision kind of matrix you go through? Like, okay, there's this much, we're going to do it over time. We have a specific metric of numbers that we're looking at, maybe looking at cap rates, which is income over value. Is there certain things that you consider when you're choosing a property to invest in? Like just out of curiosity.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, we look
Yeah.
at the cap rates, we look at the areas, we look like what's in the area, we look like if there's any hospitals, any schools in the area. So all those things we look at when we're looking before we consider purchasing a building. And obviously the numbers, we have to love the numbers. If we don't love the numbers at the end, how the building is performing now and how the building would be performing at the ARV, the after repair value. So we look at all those things to see what can we do with this building. The building's performing like this now. Where can we take this property, and what would be the ARV after, and see if it makes sense. So we have to love the numbers first of anything, and then we'll make a decision to put in an offer on the property.
Excellent. So when you're looking at, is it over time where you're stabilizing some of the units? Do you have sort of strategy where if it's all under market value rent, what are things that you consider when you're purchasing these buildings, and how do you find deals like this when it comes to multifamily?
Yes, so we definitely look for on the market value, as you said. Deals like this mostly we like a couple of deals we have is off market deals. So we pretty much build relationships with our realtors in their preferred area that we're looking at. So we build relationships with our realtors that when they have a off market deal, they wouldn't even hit the market. So they will call us right away, and then most of the time they'll run quick numbers on it before they even send it to us to see if it even makes sense. And that's how pretty much how we acquire these multis that we have. And so pretty much, yeah, the realtor will bring us the deal, off market deal. They'll look at numbers first, then we will look at it, and then we'll decide. Then we'll look at all these other things that we mentioned to see if it makes sense. And if we love the numbers, then we'll go ahead and put in an offer on there.
Okay. Now I know you're doing custom homes right now. Well, let's actually just quickly rewind to the multifamily. Why is
Yeah.
multifamily important in helping you build a legacy? And like, what does a legacy mean to you when it comes to, building your wealth and your legacy for your family? And how does multifamily fit into that?
Because we're buy and hold investors. We like to buy and hold.
Mhm. Yeah.
So we like to buy and hold. So after we do a reposition of the property of the building. After we reposition it, we'll go to refinance, and then we like to we'll pull out the capital, and we'll pay back whatever investors, if investors came in on the deal with us as a LPGP, we'll pay back the investors, and then we'll have the asset, we'll have the property there still. So we like to buy and hold. So these properties, once we do that, reposition, stabilize it, so then now we have the asset. So what we like to have the asset forever. So this is when I'm gone, like my children's, it just transferred over to my children, and that's how we believe we create generational wealth, right?
That's incredible. So definitely it looks like
Hmm.
you're using it to preserve capital, and I know you're a member of Wealth Genius, so I think it's fantastic that they speak about that. What are some things that you're working on right now? I know you do custom homes right now in Durham. What caused you to work on custom homes? Because it seems like that's very different than multifamily. And what are you
Hmm.
learning from that?
The reason, like we said, this year we wanted to 2023, we wanted to get into the development space, and as you know, I own the trucking company, so I've been
Mhm.
around these builders for 16 years, 16 to 18 years. I've been around different builders. So really, how this one came about was really an opportunity came. right? A builder that I worked with, he pretty much had his plate full where he couldn't take on anything. He had this 2 plots of land where he was like he wants to sell the land, and he had the drawings and everything like that. So I pretty much bought these lots, permit ready, drawings ready, shovel ready to go. So that's how it pretty much came out. I seen the opportunity, looked at the numbers, and I'm like, I love this. I love the numbers, and it makes sense. And then let's go ahead and jump on the opportunity. So that's how pretty much that one came about, right? Just like
That's
that, you
excellent.
know?
Did
Yeah.
you have other partners or money partners involved, or did you find that you're working on that deal without any partners right now?
No, this deal, no, we don't have any partners on this deal. No, we're working on this one ourselves. So there's no money partners or anything on this deal. We're working on this one ourselves. These
Very
these
cool.
lots, these
Very
custom
cool.
homes. Yeah.
What are you learning through that process right now of building a custom home? I know that it's already sort of ready. They had permits and everything, but what are you learning through that process as you're going through it currently?
Oh,
A
learning a
lot.
lot,
I
learning a
know.
lot, learning the timings, everything. You gotta coordinate with all the different trades and the city and stuff. So timing's really everything. It's just lining everything up, making sure everybody I'm pretty much managing it. So just learning that timing's everything, timing's everything. Just gotta just be on top of everything and make sure everybody's on schedule, planning everything out. Yeah, with the city, with your builder, and everything like that. So I'm just learning like a lot, a lot.
So it definitely seems like people you're around, the power team that you have is very important, isn't it? Realtors,
Team,
communication,
yep,
timing. No, that's great. So if you were
team,
to go back like
yeah.
to when you first started 3, 4 years ago, seriously, what would be the 2 or 3 things you would tell yourself with what you know now that you would starting this journey of investing in real estate?
If I would go back 2, 3 years ago, I would have told myself get into it sooner.
Okay.
Like and get in, yeah, and
Yeah.
get in,
Yeah.
take it seriously sooner because before we started really taking it serious, it was just focus on building up the trucking business, which the trucking business is great. I love doing it, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be a generational wealth through the
Right.
business. Yeah, so it's like you're actually trading time time for money there. But now we're actually so kind of delegating everything now, systemizing everything now, where I could kind of take a little bit of a step back now and just let the business kind of run itself. So we're kind of doing that this year as well too, trying to focus on that too, where I could just take a step back and kind of let the business run itself. So yeah, so
That's great.
I would get into it sooner. I would acquire more properties, buy, especially a lot of people during the pandemic are falling back. I would try to buy more during the pandemic because the market might be messed up now. But when it gets better, when rates and stuff start getting lower and everything getting better, you want to be on top of it, right? You want to be in the
Hmm.
market at that time, right?
That's great advice. I think definitely was to say time in the market, not timing the market, right? So
Exactly.
definitely very, very
Exactly. Time in the
true.
market.
Yeah, time in the yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So you
Exactly.
you have a trucking company for 16 years. What did you learn from what are some lessons you learned about entrepreneurship through that? It seems like you've learned about system delegation. Tell me a little bit about that.
Owning the business for 16 years, it's not owning a business is great. You gotta work hard. Like I work twice as harder than any of my employees. So sometimes you will think you have a business and this and that, but I worked really hard to kind of to get here, right? So it's not easy. It's easy. You got to put the work in to build your business. To put the work in to build your business, you have to be able to learn how to systemize your business and delegate certain things where you could take the workload off yourself. So it's not easy. You got to put in the work to build your business up and and s- and see it where you have a successful business.
Yeah, definitely, like you said, it takes focused action over time, those little small things.
Yeah.
You mentioned system, delegate, What are really some key things that you were able to delegate to now make it more of a business that you can work on the business, not always be in the business, so then you're always being stuck, trading your time for money. What was that switch that allowed you to kind of pull back and start working on the business and having systems in place?
Well, for us, because as our business are growing each year, like we just became more and more busy. We have two business. We're starting another business, me and my wife now. So as we're getting more busy, we just didn't have the time to do like the day-to-day stuff, the office stuff. So one of the ways how we did that is like we had to hire an office manager, office coordinator to kind of
Mhm.
come in to give us the help that we don't have the time to do all the paperwork and the day-to-day stuff now because we're just way too busy. And another way is how we're be looking for someone to kind of do my job. We're kind of looking for an operations manager to kind of take over my job, what I do now, to kind of run operations of the business. So those are some of the ways that we're doing that, and we're just by delegating these things, it's just game changer to be able to handle the growth that our company is having right now, right?
That's great. Seems like a lot of
And
very
have
valuable
these.
lessons, and there've been so many different blessings from that, especially meeting the builders, getting experience there, getting the opportunity for the custom home, which brought you there. So it's like you're taking these awesome steps. So when you're looking at talent right now. Just briefly, what does talent look like to you? How does talent show up in your world, you think?
But the talent, but like in my business,
Yeah, you're looking for talent, you're looking for operations manager. I
yeah.
know it's like missing persons report, but how does talent show up for you? And when you see talent, what does that look like for you?
What it looks like is somebody that's experienced, somebody that's experienced in an area that I'm looking for them. Somebody that's um could possibly do my job even better than me. Somebody that's possibly smarter than me.
Agreed.
So yeah, experience, someone that's smarter, someone that could do a better job than me. Those are a few things that I'm looking for when I'm looking to hire, right?
All right. So just shifting gears a little bit, I know you're developing down south. Well, before we do that, I'd like to actually touch real quick on this with multifamily and tell me a little bit about just briefly some of your portfolio purchases and as well as how has that allowed you to build financial freedom where you do not have to be trading your time for money and you have the choice, you have financial freedom, so you have your bills covered, but you also could start getting geographical freedom as well. How has real
Yeah,
estate allowed you to do that, I guess?
well, as investors say, real estate, it's not a get rich quick thing, as you know.
Understood. Yeah.
It takes time, right? So
Yeah.
we understand that. So that's why me having another business gives me that cash flow to cover my day-to-day expenses until my portfolio builds up where I have enough cash flow to cover my expenses, my monthly expenses. So that's
Yeah.
the plan, is to have enough doors to be able to generate enough cash flow from all my investments to cover my expenses. So we're not as there is yet, but that's the plan. So
That's
that's why we
amazing.
keep
No,
uh,
you're doing well. You
yeah,
guys are doing some big things, and I think when Alfonso mentioned like then you'll have a portfolio of properties that you could refinance every so often and just kind of cycle through what
exactly.
you're doing. When you're doing that, I was always curious, what do you do to service the debt? Because obviously the debt load might go up when you do that. Do you determine if the property still makes sense to keep? Obviously, it probably would. And what decision factor goes into that? Because when you refinance, you're going to reservice new debt, right?
Yeah, so we refinance and reservice new debt, like you said, it might go up a bit. As long as how we determine that, as long as it can still cover the income from the property, it can still cover all your expenses and still give you a cash flow at the end of it. But this is how we determine if it will keep the property or not. So if it's taking money from your pocket, then we have to really evaluate, does this property make sense to keep,
Right.
or should we let it go, right? But that's how we kind of evaluate it.
Okay. No, that's really well said. So right now you're working in on down south. I think you were developing some down south. What have you learned about, investing down south? Why should someone consider maybe investing down south? What's a strategy behind developing or investing down south of the border?
Right now, we acquired some land. We're in Curacao, the Caribbean islands of Curacao, so we acquired some land there with plans to build six villas on there. So yeah, so somebody considering that, you'd have to know the laws, learn the laws, know the laws, the regulation, rules and regulations of foreign investors investing there, and know all the tax implications if you're bringing foreign cash into the island. So pretty much that. Just know the laws, know know the market, build a team,
Build a team.
which we are doing now. We're building a team out there, and yeah, just know the market, build a team, and make sure it's the right decision that you want to be investing down south there.
So you purchase some land, you're carrying that land. Are you raising funds for that to create this project? What's that look like? What's that timeline roughly for you guys, or is there one right now?
Yeah, we're gonna be raising funds for it soon. We have the drawings and everything to build. We're just trying to find the right builder to build out these properties that we have drawings and stuff for. So once we have that, we're gonna be raising funds for that property to for the construction.
And when you were part of Wealth Genius, what was one or two things that you learned about the like how to or raising capital, things that you should consider or do when you're presenting to investors or money partners why they should invest this project or with you? What are some things you learned from Wealth Genius through that?
Well, when you're raising money, you have to be able to structure a property, whether it's a GPLP structure or if it's just going to be a JV, a joint venture with private funds. And the deal has to be enticing to the investor, where you can give back some incentives. Where, like you said, the GP, it could be a GP where they own a percentage shares of the property. So there's little things like that we're learning, or we could offer investors if they want to get in on the deal with us.
So LP is limited partnership, so they don't have as much of a say, but they have a piece based on how much they put in. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay. And GP,
that's
can you
correct. Yeah.
explain that for the audience as well? GP?
Yeah, GP where they
General?
get a percentage, yeah, where they can get a percentage of the property, whether it's 5%, 10%, depending on how we structure it. They could come in as a GP, general partnership, where they own percentage of the property and get percentage on the payout.
Okay, so you're anticipating this then once you get that moving forward, you're going to figure out raising funds and then that'll be a longer project that's down the line. Is that right?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear that last. Can you repeat
That'll
that
be a
question?
project that's a little bit down the line then. You're just figuring out drawings, then raising funds, and then figuring out
Yeah,
what that looks
yeah,
like. That sounds
yeah.
that's
That
awesome.
project's more of a long, yeah, more of the next 2 years or so, 2 to 3 years. We're looking to have that complete estimated timeline of it.
That's awesome. Well, we'll wrap it up here. We'll have your socials in the notes so people can reach out to you. Where can people find you and what are you working on these days?
Now, people could find us on, we're on Instagram at Francis Five Properties, Facebook, LG Francis, Francis Five Properties as well. Yeah, and we're working on right now. We're doing those two custom homes in Durham, Ontario here. We're working to refinance a couple of buildings we have in Niagara Falls, Ontario, and we're continuing to growing. We're growing the trucking business, and also we're doing well. And I say me and my wife, we're doing a coaching. She's doing a coaching business now. She's doing a self-image and mindset coach. So
Okay.
we launched that. So that's coming along great. And they could find us on our socials, what I just mentioned there. And you can find us there if you want to learn more. You can always DM me at any of those socials.
That's amazing. Well, Francis, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for your contribution and learning a lot through you and all these things that you guys are doing. So thanks so much and we appreciate you.
No, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. So
You have a
thank
great
you
day.
so much.
Thanks so much,
You
Francis.
too.
You take care of
Okay.
yourself. Ciao.
All right. Take care now. Bye bye.
Bye.